Welcome to part 2. This is where things really start to heat up. We're going to get your hands going, your feet going. We're going to get some grooves, fills. We're going to play with some songs. We got a lot in store, so we better get to it. Now, first things first, let's look at my new drum set that I have here. The drum set that I have is pretty much the same one that you had before, except that I have a mounted floor tom that we discussed earlier. And you can take a look at that now. You can see how it's basically the same dimensions as a regular floor tom, but it's suspended by a mount, which allows me actually to hold another cymbal. And so I have an extra cymbal over here too. So let's talk about the sticks for a second, because this is really, really important. The sticks are the only thing between you and the drums themselves, so they better feel really good in your hands. Now here's the anatomy of a stick. You have the butt, you have the shaft, you have the shoulder, and you have the tip. Now we're going to check for 3 things when we go looking for good wood in the music store. We have to check for straightness, even weight, and strength of grain. Let's check the straightness first. So this is how you do that. You're going to roll the stick on a table. Okay? See how that goes right across? Sounds good. Doesn't go blub, 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 blub. And the tip, watch the tip. Beautiful. Right across. If that was a warped stick, it would be, the tip would be moving all over the place. So just watch that tip. Good. Nice straight wood. Now let's check the strength of grain. And by that, we use a hard surface and we use a tap test. So you just tap. That's all it takes. If you have bad wood, you're going to feel that shock go right up your hand. And it's going to feel really funny. It's going to feel weak. So you just tap, tap, tap. Nice wood. I'm going to go over here. Tap. That feels good. You'll know right away if you have a bad piece of grain, because it's going to go right up. Solid wood feels solid. So last thing is even weight. Now even weight, the manufacturers have done an amazing job. The major manufacturers have done an amazing job in the last few years of pairing sticks. They computer balance them. They check the straightness and the strength. And when they come sold in pairs, they're usually pretty good. I've encountered very few pairs lately that aren't like perfect, to be honest with you. But if you go to the bargain bin and you have a bunch of loose sticks and you want to check them, so you need to check the weight. And you just hold one in one hand and then put another one in the same hand. Check one hand. If you use 2 hands, you're never going to be able to tell. You need to use one hand, put another stick in the other hand, and pile up a whole bunch of sticks and just go through them in one hand. And when you have some that you think are even, then you can start to play a little bit and see whether or not they feel good to you. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the grip. And this is really, really important. And it's not a mystery. I'm going to give you 5 secrets. The 5 secrets to a great grip. And it's not only your grip, it's how you play. It's going to be your whole philosophy behind playing the drums. It's very simple. These are 5 words you're going to want to remember. The first word is fulcrum. And that's going to be the point of balance on the stick. Very important. The next word is going to be fingers, because we're going to use a lot of fingers in our stroke. The next word is wrist, because we're going to use wrist in our stroke as well, in combination with the fingers. The 4th word is rebound, because we don't want to work. We want the sticks to do the work for us. We want to think about the music and let the sticks do the work. And the last word is air, because if you do all the first 4 things right, you're going to wind up with a lot of air in your stroke. When you wind up with air in your stroke, you're going to have a big, beautiful sound, and that's what you want. Okay, so a good way to do that is just to build our grip first. Let's just build our grip. Now, I'm going to use this one stick on my right hand. We're going to play matched grip. Traditional grip is a left-hand grip that looks like this. That is a fantastic grip that I recommend everybody explore. This grip has been around a very long time. It's matured along with the instrument. I recommend everybody taste this grip. However, for our purposes, we're going to play matched. So we're going to be playing the same on both hands. All right? Each grip has its advantages, and they're both fantastic. But today we're just going to use matched because it's a good all-purpose grip, and it's good to start with. Now let's just build our grip. Now the first thing we got to do is find our fulcrum. Now find the balance point, we're going to go up about 1/3 up the stick. We'll have 2/3 to the front and about 1/3 in back. And to find the perfect balance point, let the stick drop on your finger and just let it, look at that. Watch. Now, if I hold it too far back, watch what happens. It just dies. If I held it too far forward, it would just fall right on my hand. But when I have the perfect balance point, it just bounces quite a bit. So now I'm going to put my thumb over the top of that point. So I have the forefinger on the bottom and the thumb on the top, and that is my fulcrum. Very good. The stick is going to pivot in there. Why don't you do this with me, with your stick? Just move it in the fulcrum. That is so important. That is everything. That is going to be, well, that's like, I don't know. the Lost Ark or something, the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know, it's the most important thing that you could know about being able to move the sticks. So there we are, we're moving, and that's beautiful. Now let's move 3, 4, and 5 underneath. And now we have 3, 4, and 5 underneath. And now we're going to do the same motion, and we're going to use a little bit of fingers with that motion. So now notice how the fingers don't do this. They're not flying away. They're not, you know, doing anything weird. They're just moving with the stick. Control, control, control. And it's beautiful because you're not working hard either. Now when we go to actually physically play, we're going to use some wrists. So now we turn our hand over. Here's our fulcrum. We have our 3, 4, and 5 underneath. Everything's beautiful. Now we just use a little bit of wrist in a conjunction with the fingers. So the stick is still moving beautifully, easy, no tension at all. Now when we apply our rebound, when we actually make contact, let's try this. We'll play a little bit of rebound. Now let me give you a demonstration of why you want to use rebound. Drummers who don't use rebound get a thing called tendinitis. When you don't use rebound and you hold the stick and you play down and you keep it there, the shock has nowhere to go but into your wrist joint. So if you play with good technique, you're going to be a healthier drummer. You do not want to get your tendons messed up because there's really no cure for that. The harder you hold the sticks, the harder you hit the drums without releasing, the more you're going to mess up your tendons, and you want to try to not do that. Now, let's demonstrate rebound. Now look at the snare drum. Okay? This is a very good example of a drum. Here's a drum key. This is not heavy at all. I'm going to drop it from here. Watch what happens. It just bounces up. This doesn't lay there. It bounces. It bounced. And you're going to do exactly the same thing with your sticks. And we're going to demonstrate that right here on this nice hard surface. So I have my sticks over here, and I'm going to let it bounce up. So here it comes up, just comes up. I'm not doing that. Comes up. I'm going to try it with my left hand. I have my fingers. Beautiful. All right? Very nice. And there's a lot of air. And I have air in the back, and I have air in the front. So now let's take our first exercise, which is going to be a rebound stroke, and it's going to be eighth notes. And we're just going to play 8 eighth notes on a hand. Let's do the right hand first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Nice. Okay? Let's do it in the left hand. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now let me show you what it looks like wrong. 2, 3, 4. See? I choked off. I'm using only my wrist and not my fingers. I essentially cut off my fulcrum. Very bad. Let's see what it looks like wrong in the left. It's a very bad sound. Let's play it right. Now over here. Fulcrum, fingers, wrist, rebound, and air. Let's play it in an exercise. 8 on each hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. That simple exercise is your ticket to being able to move your hands the right way. It's a simple exercise. You want each hand to sound the same. You want to have total control of your sticks. Try it at different tempos. Say you have a hard time with this and you're not getting it right. Slow it down to whatever tempo you need. Don't worry about the guy next to you. Don't worry about the girl over there. Worry about you. Music is not a race. Everybody has their own pace. Find yours. Enjoy the journey. Do whatever you have to do to play it right. Okay, so I'm going to have my friend Steve here help me out and do some demonstrations about grip and motion and just getting a good solid foundation with your hands. Steve's going to play the same exercise that we just talked about. Those eighth notes using a nice, broad, open stroke. Steve, why don't you play that first, right around here. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now Steve's going to keep playing and I'm going to talk. This is just the way it would be if you were taking a private lesson with me. We'd be discussing certain things that would be going on. We're going to look and we're going to adjust and we're just going to fix things as we go along. No big deal. Now you can see if Steve is playing, he's playing this pretty well. He's obviously using his fulcrum first and foremost, letting the stick move freely. He's got lots of fingers in his stroke. He's using his wrist and is naturally incorporating his wrist into the fingers. He's not trying to do one, he's not trying to do the other. he's letting the stick do the work because he's using what we discussed before, rebound. He's not working. He's letting the sticks do the work. And because he's doing all those things, he has the end result of a lot of air in the stroke. That air is going to translate to sound out of the drums. So all the things he's doing, all 5 points, is going to translate to a big, beautiful sound out of the instrument. And that's what you want. You don't want to work any harder than you have to. This is all about not working. Okay, Steve, thanks a lot. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Now, let's go on to another exercise. And this is going to help us when we have to play a fill, and this is called single strokes. And they are exactly the way they sound, single strokes. We play 1 stroke on each hand. And we're not going to get into a big deal about rudiments or anything, but we're just going to talk about playing some really easy single strokes because it's not really a big deal at all. Now, we're going to use the same exact technique. That technique doesn't change. That's a universal policy. All 5 things that we just talked about, that's going to stay constant. The first time we play them, we're going to play them at a nice, slow tempo so everybody can play along and make sure you really understand what's happening. Now, we'll be playing 16ths, which are counted like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Ready, Steve? Why don't you show us how to play these single strokes, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. See how symmetrical his sticks are? And at a nice slow tempo like this, you really can't let them bounce around too much, so you have to hang on a little bit more to have the control. When we bump this tempo up, which you're going to do in a second, we're going to use exactly the same technique we had before. All rebound. We're not going to be working at all. Good. Thank you, Steve. Now let's take this a little bit brighter. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2. Good. Now he can really use that rebound now. Good. Very natural. See how he's not working? You working hard?
Nope.
All right. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We don't want him working too hard. This way to play is going to produce a beautiful sound out of your drums. Up, off, big, and full. It's going to be really, really nice. Okay, thank you, Steve. So now let's make this a complete thought. We're going to take the first exercise and we're going to combine it with this exercise. So we'll have 8th notes and then we're going to go to 16th notes. And we're just going to concentrate on having that big, full, relaxed feeling. Okay? All right, here we go. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Nice and easy. Don't hurt anybody. Right around here. Same tempo, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and now 16ths. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 8ths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 16ths. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3. Now, as he continues to play, we'll then take the theme of having a private lesson, and we'll discuss what we see. Notice how he moves from one subdivision to the other, and nothing changes. He isn't tensing up when he has to play the 16ths. Everything's universal. He still stays the same person when he's playing fast as when he's playing slow. It's a very common problem. When people have to play faster, they suddenly get very tense. And that's not good for your music. You have to try to stay relaxed. And even though Steve isn't showing it, but he's breathing very normally right now. He's not holding his breath. You can't see him breathing. But if he was holding his breath, he'd be getting really, really tired. So you want to make sure you don't hold your breath either when you're playing. And he's just motoring along, nice and solid, not working hard. You working hard?
Nope.
Are you working hard?
Nope.
No, he's not working hard. He's just playing. Everything's cool, right? Walk in the park. Stop. Beautiful. Excellent. Thank you very much, Steve. Okay, now that we talked about the hands, it's time to move to our pedals. Now, the pedals present You can hear how it's a much tighter, I don't want to say ugly, it's not ugly, it's just much more harsh. Now, that's a good exercise to do at a bunch of different tempos. We played very slow. Put your metronome on, start really slow, like it's 60 beats a minute, and play those exercises, and gradually move your metronome up a little bit every single day until you get up to a pretty good clip. It's a great way to get some control happening for your bass drum. Now let's go over to the hi-hat. The hi-hat presents its own issues. We have to have a little bit of a different philosophy with the hi-hat because we are not playing off a skin like everything else we've been doing so far, just about. This is a metallic instrument. It doesn't have a bounce per se. And we actually want to have a little downward tension happening because that's a good way to keep the cymbals nice and tight together. It's also a good position to be in to get ready to play a stroke, which we're going to do now. Now, we could play heel up or heel down in the hi-hat too. However, I'm going to recommend that you play heel up because most modern music, you're going to be feeling pretty good about keeping your heel up, and you'll be able to get more rapid fire strokes that way. You'll always be able to put your heel down if you want to, and if you need to play very, very softly, you can always play with your heel down if you need to. But we're going to get up on the ball of our foot, and we're going to have some nice downward pressure. So the cymbals are nice and tight. Now, when I play a stroke, I'm going to release, go down, and end in the same position. So the cymbals are always nice and tight. And the feeling is going to come from the calf. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to play on 1. 3, 4, 1. Let me do that again. 3, 4, 1. One more time. 3, 4, 1. So you can see that I did not do this. Very important. 3, 4, 1. Lift down. And I didn't let my foot come off the footboard, off in the air, and then smack it back down. We're not stomping grapes. We're playing a hi-hat. So that's important that you use a short, quick stroke. You're going to get a lot of sound that way. And it's going to come, like I said, mostly from the calf. So if you touch your leg, you'll feel your calf really working. It's a good workout for your calf. Now, the hi-hat can be played with the foot. It can also be played with a stick. Okay, either a little open, way open, or totally closed. And there's a third way to play the hi-hat, and that's with the stick and the foot working together to play a specialty stroke. Now, the stick will make contact with the hi-hat, and we're going to open it, and then we're going to close it, and we're going to do it all together. Now, we can either make that a very long event or a very short event. Let's do it in time, and I'm going to hit it on beat 4 and stop it on beat 1. So it's going to go 2, 3, open, close. And I'm going to hit it and close it. This is a very important technique. Let's do this together. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now, it's going to be hard to close it and get the stick. You might get a little bit of a flam. You want to try to get away from that. It's better if you get it to go right with the stick. And that's kind of hard to do in the beginning. You'll get it, though. Just keep practicing it. You can also close it without the stick. Watch this. 2, 3. You can do that. That's a very valid and good way to play it as well. Now, let's do a little bit of a shorter one. Let's play the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4. Good. Now let's play all the eighth notes. 2, 3, 4. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now let's talk about how I'm making that happen. If you watch my foot, I'm rocking back, I'm letting a little pressure go, and then I'm rocking up again to close it. So I'm here, tension down, I'm rocking back, I'm coming down. It's much better than just lifting your leg because your whole leg is in the air. It's going to throw your center of balance off. Just drop your heel and lift up. Look at that small little motion. Look at that. This is how a lot of old jazz drummers used to play their hi-hat too. They used to rock back. That rocking motion was the way all jazz drummers used to play. So there's a lot of history there. Now let's play an exercise with the bass drum and the hi-hat playing together. And we're going to play the same exercise that we played before. The quarter notes and the eighth notes. And we're going to play 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. Let's see what happens when we try that. Nice and slow. 2 and 4 on the hi-hat and the quarters and the eighths on the bass drum. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and back to quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now I did that with my heel down. You can also do it with your heel up, and you can try it with smash strokes. Let's see what smash strokes look like. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's great if you need to play in really loud situations. Playing that way is a very valid way to play. If you're playing in a softer situation or wanted a rounder sound out of the bass drum, you would want to use one of the other two techniques where you're letting the beater come off just like you were playing with a stick. Now, there's a lot of funny things that can happen when you're doing these exercises. We're talking about coordination. The first time you play it, your hi-hat might go anywhere but where you want it to go. That's a very normal problem. Slow it down and work it out. There's no quick fix to fixing coordination. You just have to slow it down and work it out. Say your hi-hat always went on 3, and you were going 1, 2, 3, and it went on 3 every single time. Well, you have to get out of that by thinking your way out of it. Look at your hi-hat, look at your bass drum, and think your way through, and slow it down. So now I'll do this exercise even slower so I can really time it out. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You can even play it slower, as slow as it takes. Whatever it takes for you to play it right is the right tempo for you to play it at. Now we're going to move on. Okay, so here we are in a bit of a different environment. You're actually going to see a private lesson taking place right before your very eyes. Now, private lessons are very cool. When you're finished with this program, you might want to take some private lessons of your own. You find a really good teacher, and you're going to really start to be able to explore some of the possibilities on the instrument. It's really cool and a lot of fun. Now, I got my buddy John here. John, how old are you?
9 turning 10.
9 turning 10. My buddy John here is going to show us some coordination exercises. And he's at that point now where he's starting to get his coordination together. Now, this is a very important concept. This is a word we used before, coordination. It's when you start to get those limbs working independently. It's very important. All good drummers have it. So we're going to get it together right now. John's going to show us how. We're going to play this exercise where we're going to keep the right hand going on the numbers, the quarter note. And that's not going to change. He's going to keep that going, and then he's got his left hand, his right foot, and his left foot. And he's going to be adding them in one at a time with that right hand. It's going to be really cool. So let's get this, all right? Not too fast. Right about there, all right? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's really nice. Let's add the snare drum in. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Nice. How about the bass drum? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Let's try the hi-hat. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. Excellent. Great job. Now, when he practices that on his own, when he's going to be repeating it over and over and over about 5 million times, and he's going to be trying all these different markings on his metronome, right? You get your metronome out, you try all the fast ones, the slow ones, you try all these different things on there. He's going to be working on getting that hi-hat nice and tight, a good quality sound from the snare drum, a nice sock, boom, from the bass drum, and keeping that ride cymbal nice and consistent. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you one more variation on this too. Now we're going to play eighth notes on the ride cymbal. We're going to do the same exercise with the other 3 limbs. And you can see what we're going to do, and you can join along with us. If you want to, you can watch it the first time, then go back and you can try it with us. All right, John? Here we go. Let's try some eighth notes on the ride cymbal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Nice. Let's try the snare drum. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Having fun? Smile. Start a hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. Excellent job. All right, buddy. See the way he did that? Took his time, nice and in control. He's having a good time. He's going to do that 5 million times. And he's going to see me next week after he does it 5 million times, and then we'll learn something else. Just the way you're going to do when you go in your lessons. Thanks a lot, John. That was great. Okay, the time has come. We're going to put it all together. We're going to play our first groove. And we're going to play the mothership groove. The groove where everything comes from. The good old-fashioned, basic, slam-it-home rock and roll groove. Steve, you're going to build this for us from the ground up. Okay? Well, not even the ground up, actually. We're going to start with the hi-hat first. And then we'll add the ground after that, okay? So we're going to start our hi-hat, and we're going to start playing eighth notes. Now, play along with us. If things don't go exactly right, don't panic. It takes practice. But we're going to build this as we go, and you'll be able to rewind it 1,000,000 times if you want. Everybody progresses at their own rate. The first time we all try this, it's always kind of funny. So don't worry about it if it doesn't go perfectly the first time. Keep trying. Ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Eighth notes on the hi-hat for me, please. All right, now we're going to have a nice tight hi-hat here with our foot, keeping our foot down, and we're going to keep it like that. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Very nice. Okay, now let's add in the bass drum on 1 and 3. This doesn't change. Now, as we go by, we're just going to put that on 1 and 3. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Are you working hard?
Nope.
You breaking a sweat? Good. Everybody's nice and relaxed. That's the way it should be. Okay. 2 and 4 on a snare, please. 1, 2. 2 and 4 on a snare. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stop. Okay. Revel in its simple brilliance. The simple rock groove. Now that gives us a whole lot of options to play variations, and that's a concept we're going to use throughout this whole groove section. We're going to start with a really simple groove, and then we're going to start playing variations based on the first groove, which is a really, really common vehicle in drumming and modern music. You take a simple idea, and then you just put a little twist on it, and you have a new idea. It's really cool. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Oh, you know what? Let's add in our rim shot. Let's talk about our rim shot. Now, Steve's playing 2 and 4 on our snare drum here. Now, he's playing nice, strong taps in the center of the drum, which is a good way to do it. But to make it pop out a little bit more, we're going to play something called a rim shot. Now, Steve's going to show how to do that. Why don't you show us what it looks like on impact, Steve? Just put your stick all the way down. Okay, so he has contact with the rim, and he has contact with the head, and it's going to happen at the same time. That's going to produce a higher pitched sound that's going to really pop out. Why don't you show us what one sounds like, Steve? Again. Ah, that's good. How about another one? How about another one? How about another one? That's it. There you go. Do it again. That's it. Go. He sometimes takes a couple of tries to find the perfect angle of your stick to the rim. You might catch too much rim, you might catch too much drum. Just keep trying. Pretty soon, your body's going to know exactly where to go if you play it long enough. Give us another one, Steve. One more. Bam. That's the sound we want. Pop. Okay. Let's build our groove with variation. So we'll play our first groove again, and we're going to play this one just a little bit brighter. Boom, boom, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Right. Not too fast. Right. 1, 2, 3. Good. Nice. You'll be playing with your metronome, of course. Make sure you're not speeding up or slowing down. This is really good. Now, let's add our first variation. We're going to add 3 and in the bass drum. So we're already playing 3, and then we're going to put the and after it. Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2. See how nothing else changed? Everything else stayed the same. Very good. Excellent. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, now we're going to add another variation. We're going to open our hi-hat like we talked about before on one of those specialty strokes. We're going to open our hi-hat on the and of 4. Now, the first time you try this, it's probably going to not work out very well, but that's okay. Keep practicing. It will come together. This is a great sound, so let's get used to playing it now. So, Steve, when you're ready, we're going to put the and of 4 in a hi-hat. Okay, ready? Here we go. Bring it up. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 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 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, bring it down. Good. Now, that was really good. Now, like I said, that might be a little weird the first couple times you play it. So you can slow it way down if you want to work it out. Just play exactly what we're playing at a slower tempo. Now, let's move on to the last variation. We're going to do something that every drummer needs to know, and that's called 4 on the floor. That means we're going to play all 4 quarter notes on the bass drum, and we're going to use those smash strokes that we talked about before. We're going to really dig the bass drum beater into the head, and it's going to be a really heavy sound. So it's going to be all 4 beats in the bass drum, and nothing else changes. Ready, Steve? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is a great groove. This groove works almost all the time. Really smash that bass drum. Dig it in, dig it in. There you go. That's it, yeah. He's really digging the beater into the head now. It produces a really heavy, thick sound. Nothing else changed. Okay, Steve, thank you. That was excellent. Thank you very much. Now, as Steve was playing, you'll see that he stayed in control of his body the whole time. He wasn't moving all over the place. It wasn't like on a roller coaster ride. You know, his body wasn't like jerking around. He was very stable and centered. That's a very important thing. You don't want to be leaning into different limbs. This is very, 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 very good to watch. So when you're playing these grooves, like I said before, this isn't a race. If you have to go back and play variation 1 5,000 times, then do it and enjoy it. Everybody progresses at their own rate. Enjoy whatever rate you progress at. Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to play each one of these grooves for you really slow so you can really see what's going on every single part. If you're having any coordination issues, this would be an excellent opportunity to play along with me and really get into what might be going wrong with your particular groove. All right, so here we go, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Now I'm going to add in each variation. Notice how nothing changes. 3 and 4. Here's the first variation. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Nothing changes. Rock solid. Good. Now I'm going to add the open hi-hat on the and of 4. That might be a little difficult at first. See how I'm not speeding up and slowing down? I'm very relaxed. You have to work at being relaxed. Now here's my last variation. Take it nice and slow and do it at your own pace. Okay, so here we are with Jen. Jen's been playing a couple years, and she's going to show us a second groove. We're going to play on the ride cymbal now. Up to now, we just played on the hi-hat. Now Jen's going to show us how to play on the ride cymbal, and we're going to give our hi-hat a part in addition to the other parts that we had going on as well. This is going to be a little slower, a little funkier than the first groove that we just played. So let's see, Jen, right around here, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing we just did. We're going to build this groove from the ground up, okay? Jen, why don't you show us the eighth notes on the ride? 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very good, excellent. Now she's going to add in the bass drum without changing anything. And she's going to add that in on 1 and 3, just like our other groove. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now without changing anything, she's going to add the snare drum in. 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now we have to give our hi-hat part a little softer. A little softer. Good. Now we have to give our hi-hat a part. So we're going to go 2 and 4. It's going to double the snare drum. Okay? Let's see what happens when we do that. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, bring it down a little bit. All right. Okay. Good. Now, she did that beautifully. Now we're going to add our first variation on this groove. She's going to add the and of 2. She's going to keep everything else the same, and she's going to add the and of 2 in. Ready, Jen? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, down a little bit. Good. Very nice. So she added the and of 2 on the bass drum. Now she's going to add the and of 4 as well. Really make this a complete thought. Okay, ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to bring it down a little bit. Good. See, every time she added a new element, nothing changed. That's our theme. We're building upon what we played before. So now she's going to add our last variation in, and she's going to go into the bell on the ride cymbal, on the quarter note, without changing anything else. Okay, so she's going to keep the part the same, but now she's going to go into the bell of the ride on all 4 numbers. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and out. All right, excellent. You see how she added each element without changing anything else? That's called coordination. She did it very, very well. Thanks a lot, Jen. That was great. Okay, here's groove number 2, really slow. Play along with me. If you have any coordination problems, let's fix them now. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Here I'm not playing the ride too loud. It's not a good sound. Everything nice and balanced. Now here's the first variation. Ready? 4. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. You with me? Nice and easy. Nothing changes. Now here's the next variation. 1, 2, and 3. And 1. And 3. And 1. And 3. Nothing changes. Now I'm going to go to the bell, right? Nothing changes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Steady tempo. If you made a mistake, you might have to slow it down even more. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. So get whatever tempo you need to take it at. Whatever tempo you need to take it at is the right tempo. Slow it down as much as you need. Okay, the last groove we're going to introduce is a halftime feel, and then we're going to double everything up to get it back to normal time. Halftime feel is really, really cool drumming beat that is used all the time. So it's really good that we're going to get this under our hands now. So Steve, you're going to show us how to do this. You're going to start off on the ride cymbal. Let's build the first groove first, okay? One piece at a time. Let's get the ride cymbal going. Now these are the quarter notes, and Steve's going to play quarter notes on the ride. Okay, Steve, ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Now he's going to keep those going, and he's going to put only the ones in the bass drum. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now he's going to add 3 on the snare drum. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So now he has the illusion that we're playing really twice as slow as our tempo is. It's a very common thing in music, so really pay attention to this. You're going to be able to use it a lot. Okay, so Steve, now we're going to go to the hi-hat, and we're going to play our regular rock beat again. We're going to double everything up. Ready, Steve? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Tempo stayed the same, but it sounded like he started playing twice as fast because he did. He started playing 8 notes on the hi-hat. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And now he has 2 and 4 on the snare and 1 and 3 on the bass drum. Now let's go back to halftime. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's double it up. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Out. Excellent. And you can play variations that you make up yourself, as with all the grooves. Any variations that you come up with might be really cool. So try them. Experiment. Don't be afraid to take some chances. Nice job, Steve. Thanks. Okay, here's groove number 3. Nice and slow. So if you're having any problems playing this groove, play along with me, get inside what's happening, and we'll fix everything now. Let's see. What's a good tempo for this? We'll play the half time and the double time. Not too fast. 1, 2, 3. 3 and 4 and 1. Yeah, that's good. Right about there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's hard playing this slow. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the double. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And back to the half. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. And 1 and 2 and double. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. Okay, let's talk about some fills. Now before we start the fills, we have to take the fill oath, which every drummer takes and adheres to. And you have to say this with me. Here we go. I will never play a fill just because I want to. Very good. Thank you very much. Now, did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, now we're going to play some fills. Now, what is a fill? A fill is a musical thing that is going to either connect 2 sections of music or fill a hole. There's a purpose to play a fill. You don't just start playing fills. A fill can be anywhere. It can be as simple as 1 note. It can be as complex as an amazing flurry all over the place. If it serves the music, then you're being a superior musician. So always try to keep all that stuff in mind. Okay? Okay. So let's play our first fill. This is kind of an all-purpose fill, and it's a 2-beat fill. It works almost in all 8th note-based music, which is kind of like what we're going to use it for right now. Like that first groove we played, this fill works great in that. So the first fill goes like this. 1, 2, blah, da, boom, boom, bam. 1, 2, blah, da, boom, boom, boom. Now I'm singing it because if you can sing it, you can drum it. Don't be afraid to sing things out loud and then try to play them. It's a great way to come up with new things behind the drums. Sing that with me. 1, 2, blah, da, da, boom, bee. Okay? So now my tone is going down, so he'll do that on the drums and kind of use the toms to go down in pitch and play a nice crash on 1, which is a good way to end a fill usually. Okay? Ready? Here we go. I'll give you 2 beats and you play the fill. 1, 2. Beautiful. Every time. Perfect. Now, to make this music and not just hitting the drums, we're going to put this in a very musical exercise, and we're going to do this with all our fills. We're going to play 3 bars of time, 1 bar of fill. So it's going to be a 4-bar exercise. We're going to play a nice simple groove. Let's play our first groove that we played, okay? And just lay it down, and then when we get to that 4th bar, you play that fill bar, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 2, 2, 3. Bar 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, fill. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, and we'll keep repeating. 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You see how he used his left hand? He's getting fancy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Excellent. Stop. Really good. So he kept it going nice and solid, and when he played the fill, he dropped right back into time. The time didn't get all weird before the fill or after the fill. It was solid all the way through. Practice this with your metronome. Okay, let's do another 2-beat fill. This one's a little bit more cool. Jen's back to show us how to play this fill. We're going to do the same thing we did on the first fill. This is a 2-beat fill, like I said, except this one is going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, E, and a 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, E, and a 1. Just like that. Jen, I'll give you 2 beats, and you play first on the drums. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now, use some toms this time. Okay? Show us what it sounds like when you use the toms. 1, 2. Now you can see how she went down in pitch, because when I sang it originally, it was 1, 2, 3, and 4, E, and a 1. And she went down in pitch, just like I sang it. Very musical. Let's put it in our 3-bar exercise and 1-bar fill. So we'll have a 4-bar exercise, 3 bars groove, 1 bar fill. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 4, 2. 1, 2. Very, very good. See how she added her variations in as we went along, too. Each time we did another cycle, she maybe popped another variation in on the groove, too. That was excellent. We made it more exciting as we went along. And every single fill was nice and solid, and she used different drums, have a nice crash at the end. She kept it focused. She kept it simple. She kept it strong. She was making music. Okay, we're back with Steve, and now we're going to lengthen our fill. Actually, we're going to double it. We're going to play a full bar, so it's going to be a 4-count fill. Now, Steve, let's play this. Bam. Okay? Let's sing that together. Ready? 3, 4. Bam. Excellent. Now play it for us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Excellent. Now that's going to take up our 4th bar in our exercise of 3 bars of groove, 1 bar of fill. All right? You can use any drums you like. Just keep the time nice and steady. Ready, Steve? All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. bar 2, bar 3, bar 4. Bar 2, bar 3. Now use a different combination of drums. 2, 3, 4. Two hands together. That's a great sound. Let's watch him do that again. 2, 3, 4. Cool. Hey, Steve, flip-flop it. Play the 16th first. He's going to flip-flop the fill. Ready? Go. That's a good way, too. Play the faster beats in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very cool. All right, Steve, thanks. That was excellent. Good job. Now, you can see how Steve was using his creativity and not really worrying about he was going to hit the wrong drum at the wrong time. He was just letting it flow out of him. He was having fun. And they're going to explore that at all different tempos, dynamics, have a lot of fun with that, play for hours and hours, and make up your own fills. You'll have a great time. Okay, one last fill. This is a cool fill. Kind of an R&B, funky kind of fill. Works in a lot of different places. And this is called the barbecue chicken fill. The barbecue chicken fill, what's that? Well, I'll explain. It sounds like this. 1, 2, some barbecue chicken, And there's a 1 on the, One more time. 1, 2, some barbecue chicken, All right? Now, that's a cool fill. Let me play it for you. 1, 2. Right? Let's do it again. 1, 2. So now you can see why I say if you can say it, you can play it. So if you say 1, 2, some barbecue chicken, Now I said chicken, so I went a long sound, so I want a long sound. I'm using one of my specialty hi-hat strokes. And I cut it off when I want, but I just open them a tiny little bit so they sizzle. Pretty cool. And then I stop them when I want. So that's the chicken sound. Now that might sound a little funny coming out of my mouth, but that really is a great music fill. Let's play it in our 3-bar exercise with the 1-bar fill exercise. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll try maybe some different drums. That just feels really good to play. That's a lot of fun. 1, 2. Last one. 1, 2. That's a cool fill. All right, now let's really have some fun. So I got together with some friends and I wrote a couple of, actually 3 tunes for this project. And the 3 tunes are going to line up with the 3 grooves that we've learned. And we can stick some fills in too. Now the first tune we're going to hear, and we're going to watch Steve play, is a tune that's just good old home cooking rock and roll. And you're going to use groove 1 and any of the variations that we talked about in groove 1, and you can stick a fill in too. The song is made of 2 sections, and at the end of the second section, you'll hear a little 2-beat space where that's your signal. Drop your fill in. So have some fun, and let's watch Steve play this track. All right, let's have Jen play track 2. Now, track 2 is a little slower, a little funkier. It's kind of a fun little jam, harmonica kind of thing. And we're going to use groove 2 and any of the variations that we talked about. Now, it has 2 sections, and it also has a little space at the end of the section for you to play a fill. So feel free to drop a fill in. And when you get comfortable, you can play any kind of fill you want. Make up your own kind of fill. Take some chances. Remember, if you make a mistake, you can just do it again. It's music. Have fun. Let's watch Jen play this track. Okay, let's play our last track now. Now this track is the 3rd groove that we learned earlier. We're going to play our halftime groove and then go to our double time groove. Now this track is a lot of fun. It's a little quicker, but we're going to watch Steve play it and you'll see how he stays very relaxed as he moves from one groove to the other. This song also invites you to be a little bit more creative. You can drop some fills in where they're kind of a little bit unexpected. Have some fun with it. Don't worry about it. Like I said, it's everything we do, we can do again. We practice it and practice it and practice it. It'll get better and better and better. So let's listen to Steve play this last tune. This one's a good one. Let's watch. Not bad. So here we are at the end. We made it. We covered a ton of different territory. And it's been a real pleasure taking you through this crucially important information. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as me. So the next question I usually get is, what's next? Well, there's a couple of different places we can go right now. But the most important place is to use your ears and listen to music. Listen to music of all types. And listen to really high quality drummers. Now, if you go to the internet and you start going to chat rooms and you start checking things out, you're going to see a lot of the same names over and over again. And that's a good thing, because those are great drummers. And you go and you buy their records. They might have some solo records out. Go buy records that they're on an artist that you've never even heard of before. That's a great thing. Buy new music. New music opens your mind. It opens your possibilities. It makes you a better appreciator of music, and it makes you a better player of music. It all comes back to serve you later. It's a great, great, great thing. Also, you can just listen to a different radio station than you've ever listened to. Just pick a new radio station. Pick a classical station if you've never listened to classical. How about some jazz? Maybe there's a Latin station, like a pure Dominican station, maybe even. Like anything. It all is good. It all comes back to serve you. So keep your ears open and keep your mind open to new possibilities. You may not like everything you hear, but it's good for you. And you will learn to appreciate most of it as you go along. It all has something to offer. And the very last thing I'd like to say, if you're in high school or younger, join band. Your music arts program in your school is a great vehicle for you to play more music. Any opportunity you have to play music, take. Now, say you're in a program where you think the band program's not that great. Well, I guarantee there's something there for you to learn. Say the band director wants you to play xylophone. Well, here's my advice. Play xylophone. It all comes back to serve you. It'll make you a much better drummer. You have to keep your mind open. The more open your mind is, the better musician you're going to be. Now, I'm going to play a tune for you. And this is kind of a cool tune. And it's a groove tune. It's got some fills and stuff. But it's stuff that you're not supposed to be playing right now. And the idea is not to like blow you away and make you feel, oh my God, I'll never be able to do that. I've been playing for a long time. So I'm going to play this tune just to give you an idea of where the drums can sit maybe in a band of really good musicians. And I just want to say one more time what a pleasure it has been to show you this information. I would congratulate you on your first drum set, and no matter what happens, keep playing.
Tommy Igoe again.
In 2003, the Vic Firth Company and I released the Groove Essentials poster. More than 50,000 posters later, it has proven to be a huge success in the drum education industry as both a teaching tool for group lessons and for individual students.
The full version is an encyclopedia of today's most popular grooves, grooves that every drummer needs to know, including rock, jazz, funk, R&B, and world styles. Each individual groove is completely broken down on the drum set and then demonstrated with full band tracks at 2 different tempos. An optional play-along book features CDs with all the tracks I use on the DVD without the drums, so you can practice all these grooves at your own pace. All players, from beginner to advanced, will find Groove Essentials a lifelong companion for expanding their musical vocabulary on the drum set. We'll get you playing some of the funkiest R&B and hip-hop grooves in music today, and the jazz section will definitely add some swing to your playing. In our World Groove section, we'll literally travel the globe and cover everything from New Orleans second line and reggae grooves to sambas and bossa novas to the Mozambique and even a tango. So what are you waiting for? For more information about Groove Essentials, please visit your local music dealer, vicfirth.com or hudsonmusic.com.